Yes, hello, ladies. Hope you're fine. I know you're at home. Some of you are growing big, and others are even overgrowing their size and age. But this is Mr. Lukyamuzi Robert, your physical education teacher. I'm here to take you through chapter 5. That is under the topic exercise, rest, and hygiene. The learning outcomes are we are going to look at what is exercise. Why should one sweat during exercise? Types of exercise under aerobic and anaerobic. What is rest? The benefits of having rest. The different forms of rest. How to draw an exercise program. And note, the learning outcomes are derived from the learner's guide discussion work. So I want you to be keen while listening to this video. First of all, we all know what an exercise is. Okay, let us not try to mistake an exercise and a sport. What you're supposed to do that an exercise done primarily to improve our health and the physical fitness. Okay, it's not a sport. A sport is different from an exercise. And secondly, when you read through our notes, this is where I explain why should one sweat during an exercise. But again, we are going to look at it in this chapter. Okay, we are also going to look at the types of exercises under aerobics and anaerobic exercises. And what is rest? Okay, I know right now you are at home. Okay, right now you are resting. So resting, it's an activity whereby someone rests the mind and the body. Okay, but again, when you go through the notes, I've already even hit on what rest is. We have the benefits of having rest. Okay, when you rest, you refresh your mind. That's one. Okay, that means you're also going to be energized in one way or another. So we have the different forms of rest. Like we can take a nap, you can go to sleep, you can watch a movie, maybe you can even go and watch football. And then you're also going to look at how to draw an exercise program. But within this chapter, I'm going to hit on only some few questions here. Like one, the types of exercise under aerobics and anaerobics. And also, we're also going to look at how to draw an exercise routine or program. And then we're also going to look at our hygiene. So we are going to begin with respiration. So in order to understand the types of exercises we do have, the aerobics and anaerobics, we have to go back to what is respiration. In our primary, we looked at what respiration is. And I remember during our sessions in class, most of you gave me different answers which were right regarding what respiration is. But to give you an hint on that still, respiration is the process that takes place in living cells which releases energy from the food molecules, from the food which we eat. That's where we get the energy from. Like for example, we have carbohydrates where we get glucose. And remember, most of the energy we use while exercising comes from carbohydrates, whereby we get the glucose. And also, as we will look on, we also get to know some other types of some other food where we get energy from, like the proteins, we have the fats where we can get energy from. But here we're also going to look at respiration. We are also going to look at oxygen. Okay, oxygen is required to break down the glucose to produce the energy. This energy is used to make the muscles contract. So when you are running, or even when you sit down, there is some muscle contraction. Okay, your muscles expand and then contract in that process when you are running or when you are jogging, not even when you are seated down, when you are even sleeping. So there is that what we call basal metabolic rate, the energy which we need at a particular day, maybe to run our day-to-day life, which is called the basal metabolic rate. Okay, so when you look at when you exercise, you realize that after a certain moment, maybe when you've been playing football, jogging, dancing, or even any other activity, you realize that you feel like you are running out of breath. Okay, in that process, the body is trying to excrete the waste products from your body. These waste products may include the lactic acid, which include the carbon dioxide, and including the carbon dioxide, okay, are produced as a result of the chemical reaction. These must be removed or excreted. That's why in most cases we sweat. That goes back to the other question, that why do you sweat during the exercise? So the body is trying to excrete this waste product, but it excretes them through sweating. Okay, through sweating. So we are going to look at anaerobic respiration or anaerobic exercise. Students, don't get confused here. When we are talking about anaerobic respiration, we are as well talking about anaerobic exercises, because anaerobic exercises, they are a result of anaerobic respiration. So when you look at, there are two different types of respiration, okay? So under those two types of respiration, we have anaerobic respiration and then aerobic respiration. So we are looking at first at the aerobic respiration. Okay, here we say these are two different types of respiration. Okay, when you exercise at a steady speed, for example, when you are jogging, when you are seated down, or maybe when you are doing some simple exercises, okay, at a moderate level or at your comfortable rate, the cardiovascular system is able to supply the muscles with all the oxygen they need. So our muscles, when, for example, when you are doing work at a slow pace or at a moderate rate, your heart is able to supply the muscles with the oxygen they need. Remember that oxygen moves within the blood. That's why we have the oxygenate and the deoxygenated blood. So the blood which is moving now carries oxygen within it, and it is supplied to our muscles. Okay, under these conditions, okay, aerobic respiration takes place. Are we together? So when we are jogging at a slow pace, okay, or when you are walking, maybe you are walking to go to class, maybe you are walking to go for food, maybe when you are doing some simple activities at home, could be ironing your clothes, maybe when you are watching TV, all those activities will use what we call the aerobic respiration. All those are the aerobic exercises, like what in our books, how it's written there. So we have a simple formula here, which will help us understand what aerobic exercises are and how do we derive, or how does it derive to come to be called aerobic exercises or aerobic respiration. One, we have what we call glucose. Okay, so remember, glucose can be got from carbohydrates. Okay, so when you eat your portion there, maybe when you eat your chapati, you can get what we call the carbohydrates, which is oxidized, and then you go into the glucose. So we have glucose, then plus oxygen, then it will go to energy. So when you eat your glucose, then it will react with oxygen, or it will be oxidized by oxygen, then you'll have the energy. Then when you get the energy there, then these are what we call the other waste products, okay, the byproducts, which is carbon dioxide. Then from carbon dioxide we have water, and that's the reason as to why you sweat. When you accumulate a lot of carbon dioxide or lactic acids in your body, they must be excreted or removed out, okay? And the way they are excreted, they come out as sweat, okay? That's why some people do sweat during our exercise, which we always do in our physical education lesson. So when you look at aerobic exercises, can be maintained for a longer periods without the performer getting breathless or suffering muscle cramps. Remember when we are looking at our injuries, okay, in sports we looked at the cramps, the muscle cramps, okay. So that means when someone gets the cramp, it means that that particular place, or that maybe the leg or the muscle has run out of oxygen or has run out of the energy. That's why you get the muscle cramp. So is it wrong if I repeat to say that exercises can be maintained for a longer periods without the performer getting breathless, okay, or suffering muscle cramps? Moderate activities like walking, jogging, cycling, and swimming use aerobic respiration. All these are aerobic exercises. So I've already told you that aerobic exercises, they come as a result of glucose plus oxygen releases energy, then after carbon dioxide, and then water. That's where we get the aerobic exercises. So don't get confused what is aerobic exercise and what is aerobic respiration. Okay, so aerobic exercises are a result of aerobic respirations. So we're also going to look at anaerobic respiration. So when you exercise at a high intensity, the cardiovascular system cannot supply enough oxygen to our muscles. So that's why in most cases when we go for our jogging exercises, okay, you realize that some people when they do come back after exercising, you find them parting like some people breathing a lot, okay. In most cases I always joke with you that, hey, people, you are panting like a dog, okay. So like when you see after the dog has been run, when it comes back there is that a signal which it signals that it's tired. Sometimes it even removes the tongue out because it has run out of oxygen, okay. So under these conditions aerobic respiration takes place. Let me repeat. So when you exercise at a high intensity, the cardiovascular system, so the cardiovascular system is our heart, okay. It combines the heart and all other organs which are within there. So the cardiovascular system cannot supply oxygen to the muscles. Okay, so that means our muscles will run out of oxygen. Remember, oxygen moves together with blood, the oxygenated blood. So that means during this time round, the blood which is circulating in our muscles will be the deoxygenated blood. That means the muscle will run out of the oxygen. So under this condition, anaerobic respiration takes place. So this is where the aerobic exercises come about, okay, or how they come in. So this is the chemical formula there. So we have glucose. It's going to be burnt straight away to energy. Then from there you are going to get the lactic acids, okay. So we talked about the lactic acids will be a combination of carbohydrates and then other chemical substance which will be in our body, okay. With no oxygen available, glucose is burnt to produce energy and lactic acid. Okay? So lactic acid is a mild poison. So that's why after our jogging exercises or after our strenuous activities, okay, those activities which take a lot of your energy, you'll find yourself running out of breath, that you can't breathe, okay. You breathe so fast, okay. In most cases you are trying to pay what you call the oxygen debt. So this lactic acid, when it accumulates in our body, it becomes a mild poison. It becomes a poison. That's like the other time we looked at the waste product, okay. It's one of the elements of the waste product. So as it builds up, it causes muscle pain and eventually the cramps, okay. That's where I will get the muscle cramps, okay. So short intense activities like sprinting, okay, like sprinting, weightlifting, jumping and throwing use the aerobic respiration. So these are short activities, but they need a lot of energy, remember, okay. So when you go, for example, when you go for sprinting 100-meter race, okay, that means you use a lot of energy. Now it will trigger your body because now maybe your energy will be exhausted. So that means the body will switch on to anaerobic respiration. That means you will need immediate energy so that you can endure, okay. It will need immediate energy for you to endure, okay, endurance, okay, for you to move on. Remember, you have already used up the oxygen you have in the body and you can't just collapse and fall there and then. So what your body does, like anaerobic respiration is like an emergency energy, okay. It doesn't go into a lot of processes, just that immediate energy from glucose then to energy then lactic acid, and then it will help you for the endurance. That's why we say like short intense activities like sprinting, okay, then weightlifting, jumping and throwing use anaerobic respiration. That's why you see some people when they go for 100-meter race or long distance running, when they come back sometimes they do faint. That's where the recovery time comes in, okay, which we'll look at later. That there is rest. That's what we looked at, rest. Why should the people rest? Okay, after using all the energy you had, okay, you've used the aerobic respiration, now anaerobic respiration. Then when you come back, you have to buy time and rest so that you can give time for your body and to replace the energy used and maybe even to repair the muscles which have been working. Okay, so we're also going to look at what we call the oxygen debt. Okay, after anaerobic activity, there's where you realize that your body has run out of oxygen. Like the way you see this man here, okay? He has been maybe doing some strenuous activity, maybe he has been jogging. Then after jogging, he has found himself that he has run out of oxygen, maybe in the body. So, and after anaerobic activity, oxygen is needed to neutralize the lactic acid. This is called an oxygen debt, and it's repaid after an exercise. So the moment you go for an exercise, that's why the moment you come back, I always advise you, can you bend, okay, and we pay back our oxygen debt, because remember, we have already accumulated a lot of carbon dioxide or lactic acids in our body. So we are supposed to pay back that oxygen debt because our body is running out of oxygen. And remember, our heart or our body moves on oxygen. Oxygen is the fuel which fuels our body and the muscles to contract and move on. Okay, so the oxygen reacts with the lactic acid to form carbon dioxide and water. In most cases, that's why people do sweat, like what I've already told you earlier, because these are byproducts, okay? These are waste products which are supposed to be removed or excreted from our body. The moment you accumulate them in your body, that's why you will find some people will even faint, or some people will collapse. And in most cases, when people collapse, what they need, it's also oxygen. When we are attending to them, we have to give them space so that they can breathe in, breathe out, and also give them what we call the recovery time. This recovery time will give them time so that they can take in a lot of oxygen so that they can recover from the oxygen debt they had. So rapid and deep breathing is needed for a short period after high intensity exercise in order to repay the, the oxygen debt. This also helps to remove the carbon dioxide which accumulates in the blood during the intense exercise. Let me repeat a bit on this. So, because this one, it always happens to us when we are out there in our physical education lesson. And I won't be wrong to say that when the majority of us, most especially when you are unfit, okay, so that means you are going to use a lot of energy, okay, and more so when you have a lot of fats in your body, it will take you some good time. The energy which you will need, the working energy which you'll use to move a short distance, it would be a lot of energy. So in so doing, your body will need a lot of oxygen, and in most cases you may run out of the oxygen, and then you will switch on to what we call the anaerobic respiration. Okay, so if I'm to repeat, I'll say after anaerobic activity, okay, oxygen is needed to neutralize the lactic acid, and this is called an oxygen debt. It is repaid after exercise. Immediately after exercise, you have to bend and then breathe in and out. And so doing, we are doing, it's like a recovery time or rest, like what we have in this very chapter. So the oxygen reacts with lactic acid to form carbon dioxide and water. That explains, like what I've told you, that explains why do we sweat during exercise. It means there are some chemical reactions, okay, which are taking place within our body, okay. Rapid and deep breathing is needed for a short period of time after high intensity exercise in order to repair the debt. Are we together? So this also helps to remove the carbon dioxide which accumulates in the blood during the intense exercises. So as I'm winding up, okay, so as I've already told you earlier, aerobic exercises, okay, come as a result of an aerobic respiration, okay. So, and we have already talked about that aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration are a result of our respiration. Respiration is the process by which the body gets food through the food which we eat. So, dear ladies, I advise you to read through this video. If you have any problem or any query, you can refer to this website. You can refer to this website, and all your queries and problems will be answered. Thank you very much.